She was much sharper than a doctor's, and they were only able to get her to quit smoking after they put her in a nursing home at age 120. They were afraid that it was going to shorten her life. Now, the one that the physicians are really into is the Mediterranean diet. They love this Mediterranean diet thing. This is where you're supposed to give up red meat, and you're supposed to rip the chicken skin off your chicken and eat a lot of fish, and you're supposed to eat lots of vegetables and grains, lots of pasta, you know, and breads and things. Little wine's okay according to the Mediterranean diet. But the proof is not in the pudding for the Mediterranean diet. First of all, because the average lifespan for the Greeks and the Italians, who eat the most of it, is 75.5, just like us. So there's no longevity benefit for that diet. And here's a specific example. Pope John Paul II, of course, has been in Italy for the last 15 or so years. He just turned 75 years old about 4 weeks ago. And he has degenerative arthritis. He has osteoporosis sufficient to the point where he had to have hip replacement surgery. He has failing health, doesn't have stamina anymore, where he has to cancel 50% of his speaking engagements. And, I mean, you would like to think that if anybody in Italy would get the very best that the Mediterranean diet could offer would be the Pope, right? And unless he's been sneaking sausage in from Poland under the table and eating that all the time, the proof is not in the pudding for the Mediterranean diet. My heroes in the alternative health field for many, many years, of course, was Linus Pauling. And Linus was famous for a variety of things. Number one, he was one of two people who ever had 2 Nobel Prizes. I mean, this guy was a genius when it came to biochemistry and biology and zoology. Nobody could argue with his intelligence, and famous for was his interest in vitamin C. And he believed that you could get everything you needed from your 4 food groups. You get all the vitamins and minerals and amino acids and fatty acids you needed from your 4 food groups. However, because of the stresses of modern day life and the pollution in the air and water and food, he believed you needed extra vitamin C. And to prove that that would help you live a long, healthful life, he faithfully took 10,000 milligrams of vitamin C every day for 35 years. Didn't take any other supplements, but he took 10,000 milligrams of vitamin C every day for 35 years. And of course, he died at age 93 from a widely disseminated prostate cancer. And here's, after I've read all his books and papers and scientific literature and so forth, and listened to his tapes and looked at his videos and whatnot, and reading things on vitamin C myself, here's what I can guarantee you. If you faithfully take 10,000 milligrams of vitamin C every day for 35 years, and you're a woman, I can guarantee you you will never get prostate cancer. Little gal here, Margaret Skeet, actually died at age 115 in 1994, a year ago, and she looks pretty good for 115, doesn't she? Looks a lot better than these 25-year-olds who subsist on Pepsis and ding-dongs and things like that. She was very bright, didn't have Alzheimer's, and she died of a nutritional deficiency disease. She actually fell and broke her hip from osteoporosis. 3 weeks later, she was dead. She died of pneumonia. This is not unusual because 75% of the people over age 65 in America who break a hip or a major leg bone don't live 90 days. They have complications of that fracture. Ava Gabor, just last week, died at age 74, fractured her hip, went into the hospital. 5 days later, she was dead from pneumonia. Doesn't matter how much money you have. If you have a calcium deficiency, it's going to get you. In the Guinness World Book of Records, not because he was 133. Many people live longer than that, as you will see. And he remarried at the age of 80 for the 4th time. That didn't get him in the Guinness World Book of Records. All you have to do is go to Vegas and sit in front of those little chapels. You see that. But the fact that he fathered 4 boys and 5 girls with the same wife after the age of 80, 9 months for the pregnancy and then breastfeeding and a little time in between each baby, he was still fathering children after the age of 100. That's what got him into the Guinness World Book of Records. So there's hope for some of you guys in the back of the room. She was survived by 6 living children who ranged in age between 120 and 128. They hadn't even left home to go to college yet. And then another thing I found interesting was her oldest son said his mother had never visited a doctor, never took any pharmaceuticals or drugs, did take a few herbs during her life, and so there's beginning to be a message develop here, right? This fellow here, Shirali Mizmilov, from Azerbaijan, the Caucasus Mountains in Western Soviet Union at this time, May of 1973, turned 168, and he was featured in that January 1973 issue of the National Geographic. And when he turned 168, some 5 months later, he went out and hoed the garden to show reporters how vigorous he was at 168. G. Dagayev turned 140. He was also from Azerbaijan, and the literal translation of his village's name was a village of centenarians, people who lived to be 100. And 50% of the people in his village at his birth date were over 100.